Hello, everybody. Today's topic will be helping me choose which game to go to see the Eagles next season. Well, I go to one game every year. I think my first one was when I was about 16 to 18 years old. I'm not 100% sure. I've kept my ticket stubs, but I didn't pull them out right now, so I don't have that information. I've seen 21 games, and I've seen a few on the road. I went to Buffalo, and I went to New York, and I went to Washington. The Washington one, I won tickets. Um, Eagles won that game. The Buffalo game, I was in the first row. Great seats. This was back when Michael Vick was the quarterback. The Eagles ended up losing that game. Kind of sucks, but the majority of the games I've been to, the Eagles have won, so that's great. I think I'm 14 games won and 7 losses when I'm at the stadium. So I have a winning record to help out my team. Um, so this year, I don't have many teams on the schedule to go see because I've seen Buffalo, I've seen the Jets, I've seen Indianapolis, I've seen Cincinnati, Cleveland. I saw Kansas City, Denver, Chargers, and Raiders. Raiders I saw when they were the Oakland Raiders. Now they're Los Angeles Raiders. But after I complete seeing every single team at least once, then I'll go to the teams that have relocated to other cities, like the St. Louis Rams. Now they're the Los Angeles Rams. And like I said, the Raiders were Oakland. Now they're the Vegas Raiders. Um, so for home games this season, the Eagles games that I haven't seen are Dallas, Detroit, and Chicago. All the other teams I've seen on the schedule. On the road this year, I could go see the Eagles play in Tampa and Dallas, but I wouldn't travel that far. I usually take the Greyhound bus. I don't necessarily take flights. I've taken it once to Philly. Usually it's Greyhound, though. Um, so, uh, and I like being at home in Philly. That's my home away from home. I like being with the Philly fans. Just a better atmosphere. Like the game against the Giants, I had to kind of refrain from cheering because you never know who's gonna maybe take a swing at you when you're cheering for the other team. So I'll give you a little breakdown of some of the games highlights from what I could remember. The game against the Seattle Seahawks, that was my first game ever with my uncle and my grandfather and my grandmother and my aunt. And that's how I became hooked on the Eagles. Ever since then, I go to one game a year. During the COVID years, obviously, I could not travel. Um, with no vaccination, I wasn't allowed over the border. So I missed 3 years of going to games, which really sucked. Even watching the games in 2020 on TV, I don't even remember that season. It was so boring. Um, so, uh, one of my first games, one of my first games ever when I went on my own was seeing the Eagles play the Niners. It was in Philly. It was December, pouring rain, and the Eagles lost in overtime. Then I saw Cleveland Browns. I saw Carson Wentz throw his first touchdown pass as an Eagle. That was a highlight. I saw the Eagles Kansas City game, and Kansas City, it was Andy Reid coming back. I had to go see that, and there was a ceremony for Donovan McNabb, and I named actually Joe. His middle name is McNabb, and I saw, what else did I see? Chargers. The Eagles lost that one too. I think, from what I remember, it was a blocked field goal, and Chargers took it down the field, and that was it. The Raider game, my brother Jordan was supposed to come with me, but he didn't have his passport. They didn't let him over the border, so one ticket went to waste. That sucked. I don't mind going to the games alone, but I was excited about going with my brother. He actually did make it to another game with me when we saw the Eagles and Broncos play. Brian Dawkins came back. He used to be on the Eagles, and he came back to play with the Broncos. And my Uncle Bob flew in from Colorado, and the Eagles won that game, and we got to see Brian Dawkins. What a day that was! It, it was a beautiful day. Also, it was like, from what I remember, it was in November or December, but it was so warm out there. I had to take off the jacket. Beautiful temperature, bright blue skies, beautiful day. I saw Eagles and Giants. I seen them twice. Eagles won both. The Eagles have been winning almost every game they play against the Giants. The one was in New Jersey at the Meadowlands, and that's the one I was on the 20-yard line, first row, but I had to really refrain from cheering because there was a guy next to me. He looked like he'll take a swing at me if I kept cheering, so I kept it subdued, and that was that. The other one, Boston Scott scored late in the game, and the Eagles won that one. Then I saw Arizona, the Cardinals. I went with Joe. I believe that was his first game coming with me, and the Eagles ended up winning that game. And at one point during the game, I told Joe, I said, "Listen, this is a special season. I could feel it. The Eagles are going to do something special, win the Super Bowl." And what did they do at the end of the year? The Eagles won the Super Bowl. Um, One game I saw that was the worst was probably Cincinnati Bengals. I left before halftime. I couldn't stand it. The Eagles were getting crushed against the Bengals. It was like 30 to something, 30 to 6 or something like that. That was the worst trip, the worst game that I could have chosen. I saw Eagles play Atlanta. This one was another milestone. Andy Reid got his 200th win as the Eagles coach. Then I saw Eagles in Washington. I saw them twice. Eagles lost. It was a Monday nighter. Eagles lost at home. And then I won tickets, and there was Eagles Washington in Maryland, and Eagles won that game. That was a great trip. Didn't have to pay a dime. Bus tickets were included. Everything was included. That was fantastic. I was so happy about that trip. Recently, I went with my daughter, and we saw this December. We saw the Eagles and Panthers. It was a little bit of a struggle, but the Eagles pulled it out at the end and walked out with the win. And the year before, she came with me and we saw the Eagles and the Vikings. The Eagles won that one also. We've owned the Vikings lately. I don't know how many wins it is. I have to check the stats, but that'll be another video for another day. Like I said there, I like being in Philly for the games. The Buffalo game was good. There was a lot of Eagles fans there. But the atmosphere being in Philly is it's like night and day. It's so much fun being with the home crowd, especially when the Eagles win and you walk out of there. There's really no other fans for the other teams in there, and if they are, they're quiet like a church mouse. They want to get out of there as quick as they can. So this year, like I'm saying, I haven't seen Dallas, Detroit, Chicago. I would like to know which team you would like me to go see this season. It also depends. The schedule comes out in about May, maybe June. I want to have a game this year where I'm not traveling in the wintertime. It wasn't too bad to travel this year in December. There was no snowstorm or whatever. But if one does hit, I don't feel like being trapped or buses being delayed or possibly if I took a flight being delayed. So ideally like to go September or October or early November. And the other one is I don't like going near Halloween because I like being home with our kids because our kids go out trick or treating still, some of them. And I don't want to miss that. So as long as the game is not going to be around Halloween, that would be great. Um, so maybe type in the comments which team. Once again, Detroit, Dallas, Chicago, or possibly the Eagles at Tampa Bay. I wouldn't mind going there. There's always a lot of Eagles fans in that stadium. And possibly the tickets are a bit cheaper. So who knows? Maybe I'll go to two games this year. Near the end of the season this year, I was planning on going to another game, but I ended up losing my job when I came back from the Eagles Carolina game. And we'll see what happens. But the tickets are always cheap near the end of the season, especially when the Eagles have clinched a playoff spot and they're resting their players. You could get two tickets down low for like 120 bucks each, which isn't bad at all. Because right now, when I go to games, the ticket prices are about 400 US a piece, at least 350, 400 US. So especially prying in, like if it was a Dallas game, the tickets are a little bit more expensive for that one. I'm leaning at the moment, depending on all the circumstances. We'll find out in May, but right now, I'm kind of leaning to going to see possibly the Bears. I like having it where I know the Eagles are going to totally destroy another team. That always makes it a lot better when you come home with the win. Detroit is a good team. The Eagles, I believe, are a better team. But I'd rather go where I have more of an opportunity to come back from the trip with a W under our belts and fly, Eagles, fly, cheering, feeling good. Feeling good, that would be amazing. So, anyways, help me out, please. And I'll talk to you soon in the next video. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye bye.